Alright, I have to be honest about something. My baby has already been born. She was born a few weeks ago, and we have been absolutely loving having her around. It has just increased our joy and our life so much, and we are so happy for this time with her. I am so excited to get to share her birth story with you very soon, but in the meantime, I wanted to share a few of those last finishing touches that I was able to accomplish before she was born. At about 6 months pregnant, I had started to attempt to make a homemade birthday sign that could be used for years to come. There is a woman on Instagram that made a few of them that became very popular, and so I kind of was trying to emulate that look and make something similar but of my own. My first attempt did not go very well at all. My intention was to make them with finished edges, and that required that I turn each individual letter inside out after sewing it. And I did not think through the fact that when I sewed the middle of letters closed, I would no longer be able to turn them inside out. So after all of that work, I had to go back to the drawing board, and I could have remade all of those letters by seam ripping them, but I wasn't really willing to take that on and thought that I could go ahead and do an even better job the second time around. I was able to reuse some of those letters to make little name signs for my nieces, and they definitely turned out really cute. They weren't exactly my original intention, but I was able to kind of recycle those letters without having to get rid of them. Originally, I had planned to do different colors for different letters within a name or the happy birthday part of the thing, but when redoing it, I decided to make each name or word the same color throughout, which really simplified things and also gives it a bit more of a polished look, especially because these do have the edges that can fray an unfinished edge. My goal for this birthday sign was to get it finished before the birth of my daughter, and so that I could hang it on her first birthday, even though I guess it's her 0th birthday, however you want to put it. And I was able to accomplish this, and it made me feel so good. I was so excited and had it with all of my birth supplies and had given very specific instructions to my mom as to how I wanted it to be hung so that she could handle it while I was recovering from having my baby. I would call this sewing task a very beginner-friendly one. I definitely am so a novice when it comes to all things sewing. I took a few classes when I was quite young, like in elementary school young, and have just recently gotten back into it. So it definitely has some wonky lines and moments that did not go as well, but overall it's very beginner friendly. Although cutting out the letters and sewing them was quite time intensive, nothing compared to trying to stuff these little tiny letters with the fluffing. I ended up using old pillow fluffing as we have a bunch of quite dull pillows that we would never offer to a guest and would never use ourselves. So I just cut one open and started using the stuff from it so that I could reuse that material without it going to waste. The stuffing of the letters took a very long time, at least a nap time, if not two, to complete, but overall turned out really well and was quite a mindless task that I could do other things while I was working on it. I had made my patterns for the letters from just a regular, very bold font, and I loved how I did that. I made sure the letters were all about 7 inches tall, but next time I would try and make them a little bit wider just to make that a little bit easier to get all the stuffing in and kind of give it a bigger look to it.
What's that? What letter? I'll hurt you.
Ew.
Something about preparing this while preparing for the arrival of my daughter was just so special and sweet, and knowing that we will have this for both of our children for years to come is such a special little treat.
Okay, right here.
If we were to have more children, we definitely would just get to make an extra little sign for each of them, and it would be so cool to get to do it while they are on the way and get to enjoy that with them. Although it's important to me and my husband to keep our children safe and allow them to decide how they appear on social media for themselves, I do think it's fun to get to share little snippets of their life and who they are and who they're becoming. Their names are super special to us. My son was named after a relative of mine, a maiden name several generations back, and it is really cool and special to get to keep that going on, and his name, Steelman.
So it says, Happy Birthday, Steelman. And then,
My daughter was recently named Seaver after the college that me and my husband met at Pepperdine.
Seaver, to you, yeah.
Thanks for joining me as I created this and got ready for my son's birthday 1 month after my daughter was born, and I'll see you next week.